Okay, this is not a drill. Things just got serious in the Wes Watson saga. For anyone following his legal trouble lately, buckle up, because this update is huge. We're talking about a move that just turned what seemed like a routine legal process into something that looks a lot more like a high-stakes courtroom brawl. So let's jump right into it. Wes Watson, the guy known for his raw, no-filter content about prison life, discipline, and motivation, has officially dropped his original lawyer, Michael Gottlieb. Yeah, the guy he initially hired to handle his aggravated battery case, gone. And who did he replace him with? Only one of the most feared, respected, and relentless trial attorneys in Florida, Mr. Roberto Prau. Now, if you're not familiar with that name, let's paint the picture. In Florida's criminal defense world, Bob Prau is a legend. He's like the final boss of trial attorneys. You don't hire Prau because you want to work out a nice plea deal. You don't bring him on board because you're trying to lower your sentence or do a few anger management classes and move on. You call in Bob Prau when you're gearing up for war, when you want to walk out of that courtroom with a win. Think of him as Florida's version of Saul Goodman, but without the sleazy drama or ethical landmines. This man is all precision, power, and courtroom experience. If Saul could spin a meth lab explosion into a chemistry mishap, Bob could convince a jury that a full-blown gym brawl was just a motivational boot camp gone wrong. Different styles, same ruthless drive to win. This switch in attorneys alone says a lot. It's a huge clue that Wes is not planning to quietly take a deal. He's not just hoping to get a slap on the wrist. This move screams, "Let's go to trial." And that, in itself, changes everything. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, does this mean Wes is going to win? Hold up, not so fast. Let's rewind for a second and remember what he's up against. This all started with an incident on February 7th, 2025. Wes was at a local gym when things turned violent, real violent. The reports say it wasn't just some yelling match or pushing contest. It was a full-blown assault that involved fists, feet, and gym equipment being used as weapons. We're talking about a weight belt being involved and even what appeared to be a dumbbell making a guest appearance. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a beatdown that, based on the surveillance footage, looked like something straight out of Fight Club, but without the consent or the underground basement. He's facing 2 counts of aggravated battery under Florida law. And here's where it gets even scarier. Each of those counts carries a potential 15-year sentence. And if the judge decides to run them consecutively instead of concurrently, that's a potential 30 years behind bars. Now, realistically, most cases don't result in the maximum sentence. But the fact remains, this is not some minor incident. This is serious prison time on the table. And let's not forget, Wes is a guy who already served 10 years in prison. He built his entire brand on turning that time into a message of redemption and discipline. But this arrest threatens to undo everything he's built. His business, his coaching, his online presence, it all hangs in the balance. This isn't just about facing prison again. It's about losing the second chance he fought so hard to create. If convicted, he's not just going back to a cell, he's going back to square one. And there's video evidence, that's the killer part. There's actual surveillance footage that shows the entire altercation. Every punch, every kick, every blow with gym gear, it's all caught on camera. So the question is, why hire someone like Prau if the video is that damning? Here's where it gets interesting. Bob Prau isn't your average lawyer. He's not just good, he's strategic. This guy used to be a prosecutor himself. He knows how the system works from both sides. He understands how prosecutors think, what moves they're likely to make, and most importantly, how to counter them before they're even played. That's why this update matters. If anyone can shake the foundation of the case, it's Bob Prau. His entire strategy will likely revolve around picking apart that video. Expect him to file motions to suppress parts of it, argue that it was obtained improperly, challenge the angle, lighting, context, anything that might cast doubt. Maybe he'll dig into the arrest process and look for flaws in how Wes was handled. Maybe he'll go after the credibility of the witnesses. This is legal chess at its highest level. And Bob, he plays to win. Now, just to be fair, no one's saying this guarantees victory for Wes. The surveillance footage is brutal. At one point, Wes is allegedly seen soccer kicking a guy in the head while he's already down. That's the kind of detail that sticks with a jury. The self-defense narrative kind of falls apart when the other guy is lying motionless and gym gear is flying. And this isn't grainy, shaky footage that leaves room for doubt. It's clear, high-quality surveillance. You can practically count the reps in the background. It's not a mystery what happened. It's about how the court interprets it. Plus, Florida law is not exactly lenient when it comes to aggravated battery, especially with visual evidence. The jury won't need to imagine the scene, it's right there in front of them. And the optics, they're awful. A guy like Wes with a history and a reputation for being aggressive and intense doesn't exactly get the benefit of the doubt. But, and this is a big but, if any part of that video can be tossed out, the case changes. If Prow manages to convince the judge that the footage shouldn't be allowed in court, then suddenly it's no longer crime caught on camera. It's he said. It's back to witness statements, testimonies, and narratives. And that's the space where a lawyer like Bob thrives. There's also the issue of Wes himself. This dude is not exactly known for staying quiet, even in serious situations. In fact, it's already been mentioned that he couldn't help but speak up during one of his courtroom appearances. Imagine being in front of a judge, being told to zip it, and still trying to get a word in. That kind of behavior could definitely backfire. No matter how skilled your lawyer is, sometimes the client can be their own worst enemy. Let's talk about the timeline now. While the trial date is currently marked for June, that's extremely unlikely. Prow just came onto the case on May 13th. No way he's going to trial just a few weeks after getting on board. He's going to need time to prepare, dig into discovery, file motions, build a narrative, and set the stage. So don't be surprised if that trial date gets pushed, possibly months down the line. But when it does happen, it's going to be a courtroom drama worth watching. This isn't just another influencer getting caught in legal trouble. This is Florida versus Wes Watson in what could be a televised showdown for the ages. Because Bob Prow has a reputation. He's known for turning high-profile cases into fireworks. And based on past cases, he's pulled off some shocking wins. Getting evidence thrown out, catching prosecutors off guard, flipping narratives, it's what he does. Still, here's the harsh truth. Wes Watson isn't deep. The evidence isn't just strong, it's visual. There's a video that makes it incredibly hard to deny what happened. Even if the other guy threw the first punch, even if he was the aggressor initially, the law draws a line. Self-defense doesn't cover someone being stomped into gym flooring after they've stopped fighting back. And let's not forget, this isn't some bar fight with no cameras. The footage reportedly shows Wes going way past the line. Once someone's on the ground, it stops being mutual combat and starts becoming battery, especially when you throw gym equipment into the mix. If this case ends up in front of a jury, Prow's job is going to be convincing 12 regular people, most of whom probably don't lift weights, take pre-workout, or yell into a camera for a living, that Wes isn't guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's no small feat. Public perception, especially with video evidence, can be tough to reverse. So what does all this mean? Bottom line, Wes Watson's case just leveled up. What might have ended quietly with a plea deal is now headed toward a full-blown trial. One of Florida's best attorneys is leading the charge, and whether Wes walks away a free man or heads back to prison, this is no longer a minor case. It's a legal drama with real consequences and a high-profile defendant. One thing is certain, all eyes are now on this case. The courtroom is set, the pieces are moving, and Wes Watson just went from a controversial fitness influencer to the centerpiece of one of Florida's most talked about trials of the year. The odds are stacked, the stakes are sky high, and Wes Watson is either walking into redemption or a return to the prison system he's built his entire brand talking about. Whether justice prevails or strategy wins the day, one thing is clear, this story is far from over. What do you think? Is Wes walking out or getting locked up? Drop a comment with your thoughts and predictions. If you enjoyed this update and want more real-time breakdowns, like the video and subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.